What's going on, everybody? It's Retro Handles 24. Um, so unfortunately, I did a recording after I got back from work because I did another stress test, and I did it on the Pocket S, and I didn't screenshot or take a picture of it, and then my recording stopped and like the video cut out, so I don't have it. But I was able to get a better score, not stability, but a better overall score than the Odin Pro. So what I did, and I'm doing another test on the Evo, but what I did to get, like, the highest loop score was 38, which is much lower than we got before, and the lowest loop score was 37. So the lowest loop score was about the same as the Odin 2 Pro's highest loop score, and then just 100 more, and their highest loop score is 38. So the stability came out to be 97.9. And the only thing I changed when I did this stress test was I left all the CPUs alone, and the GPU limit, well, I left it to 746. So with the Pocket S, I mapped it to the Odin 2 Pro when I first started in the last video, and it was struggling at this frequency. So I boosted it all the way up to like 827, and that's why in the last video it was like 4,000 something, and the lowest one was like 3,800, which overall beats the Odin 2 Pro. But the stability was like 86. It was all over the place. It was high and then drops, and then But with this level, some 46 in 20 minutes, it was basically 98% stability. And the loop scores, again, the highest was 38 and the lowest was 37. So technically, this setup right here, which is you just have to have it, basically the cores are maxed out, or it's basically the CPU 7 is at the highest, you have the fan on full speed, and you have the GPU limit maxed, or not maxed, but at 746. That is the sweet spot for this device to line up with the Odin 2 Pro. Now, it's not the same, but it's getting closer to that stability, right? When I did on the Odin 2 Pro, I turned it off, but it was the highest I've ever seen for stability. Of course, the time I'm testing it against these devices was 99. Ridiculous. It's like, god damn it. But with that, I got a 98. Well, it's 97.9, but I'm just saying 98. And it was right on the same score, basically. It was 38 and 37. The Odin 2 was 37, 37, and it was like 11-point difference. So it was super stable. But with this setup, this is really good for the Pocket S. So the point of this is, and I'm sorry, I should have took a picture or screenshot, but I'm doing another test right now on the Evo, which will be finishing up soon. That's why you hear that fan in the background. And I'm doing this test, but instead of doing 746, I'm doing 794. So I'm curious to see if this is by far the best area to keep the GPU at without like overdoing it, basically, and having the CPU 7 at its max, right? So we're going to limit the GPU just a little bit now, because we're at 800. It can go up to 1 gig. So 800, and then these like this 20-minute stress test, and we'll see what the Evo gets. If we could get like, I would say like 39 and 38, then this will be the best setup. So this was pretty stable, but our loop scores were just tiny bit better than the Odin 2. So for the Pocket S, because of the ventilation, I would keep the GPU right here. Excuse me. What we're gonna do now, so we'll leave that, hold on. We'll leave it there. And we're gonna go into Breath of the Wild. Where is it? There it is. We'll go. I mean, the settings don't really matter. Speed limit is 400%. So just so you guys know, that's why he moves fast. But the power is why he can move fast instead of just putting it at 400%. Some devices it won't matter. Let's go to Eden's Vale. So this really is what makes the game look nice, like especially Tears of the Kingdom. Keep these on. You can mess around with that. The dynamic state. Just copy it if you want. We can change this to GPU. Fast recommended, so we'll try that. I had it on CPU last time, so and the quality will be low. Now, especially if it's GPU, the quality is going to look real low instead of CPU. The rest doesn't matter because it's not going to really do much of anything for what we're looking for. If this was like the RG557, then it would matter, but for what we want to find out basically is, instead of tweaking a couple cores, is it just the GPU that we need to like turn up and turn down? But I had one setting in the video from before where we did get to like, at some points, over 50 frames. Not very stable though, because it dropped, but we'll see with this setup. Alright, so 42, 43, it's about normal. Even looking top down, he's not hitting 50s. 38, 41. I don't have the fan on, so, but I mean, it's more stable in the 40s though. If we drop the camera though, oh, look at that. That's okay, so that's number one. So I noticed right away when it's in GPU instead of CPU in Eden's Vale, when I had the camera like this, my frame rates would dramatically increase. They still kind of do, but when I go down, it drops. But it's not dropping as much, so that changing the GPU or the CPU to GPU in that mode kind of does make a little difference. Alright, let's go over here so we don't get spotted. And then, alright, so I turned it up 800 basically. Let's go here. Oh, and the Evo finished too. So turn it up to 800, let's see. See, no. I don't see a difference. We'll go here. We'll turn it up all the way, right? This is max mode basically without the fan. What this is gonna do is just pretty much overheat the device. Will performance increase? No, 39 frames. We'll go in a circle. Nah, see, you see it? See what I'm talking about? The max mode is not needed. Then we go back, go here, go here. We'll turn it down to 746, which I think is the sweet spot. Go back here, let it catch up. Yeah, See it, we're in the 40s. And we're running around, still in the 40s. Running around, still in the 40s. And it's consistent. 41, 42, 41, 42, 41, 42. I mean, that, oh, well, I didn't mean to do that exactly, but yeah, that is, I'm telling you guys, that is a sweet spot for the Pocket S, is having the GPU. I mean, you could just make a profile. You don't have to copy this exactly. You can make max mode this. I tweaked from there. But if you have a Pocket S, I would set the GPU limit to 746 and then just lock it. Turn CPU 7 all the way up, and then you're done. I think this is probably, we'll see if there's anything else I need to apply, like if I need to lower this, like right here we'll do 2041, and I'll test, but I'm not gonna do that right now, but I'll see if it makes a difference lowering that CPU 7 with our GPU increased a little more and more. Maybe if there is a better spot, but I think honestly having it there and just having the CPU at 746, like Breath of the Wild, you're getting over 40 frames and higher at some points. But again, if you're gonna do that, 720, make sure that fan's on. I got another case coming because you know what, I didn't realize that they had silicone cases, and yeah, but unfortunately I was only able to get it in white. I wanted to get it in a different color, but I'm not paying more than I want to for a silicone case. So I got a white case coming for this thing. So I'm kind of happy and sad about it. Alright, anyways, let's see what the Evo got. Turn that damn fan off. Alright. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. So the Evo did it. The Evo crushed it. So everybody's like, oh, it's got more power. Oh, this chipset, you know, it's got more power. But it didn't have like, oh, the stability. Now it has the stability. Again, freaking almost 98% stability. Beats the Odin, crushed it, and didn't lose much of anything. And it wasn't that hard. It's draining battery because of the fan, that jet engine. Let's turn that off. Alright, because I gotta go to bed soon. But this score is amazing. This is what I was looking for. I'm not sure if I could outdo this. I'll try more, but I think this is going to be the sweet spot. And again, it's not hard. It was just basically lowering the GPU and then locking it. The point is, if you're going to play a game on any of these handhelds and you want to do it for like an actual gameplay, you're not going to be here just playing 5 minutes, 10 minutes like I'm doing and showing you guys in videos and stuff. You're going to want to play for hours. So you're going to want to make sure, if you don't have an Odin, you have one of these ANEOs that doesn't overheat, that the stability is like this. So this is the highest loop score is in 4000s. The lowest loop score is very close to still being in the 4000. Amazing. This is what people need to see to convince them to get something like this versus, oh man, I can't even go over like the first loop scores I got when I got this device. It was terrible, and people were getting like the highest loop score was lower than the Odin score because of the thermal pad, but I don't even ask. I had to replace my thermal pad. It's still holding up though, as you can see. This is amazing. So let's go over it real quick, because again, I gotta go to sleep. Right. So I did the test. Wait here. Let's go in here. I did the test with the Pocket S. Sorry I didn't take a picture. I did it here. And it beat the Odin 2 Pro by like 38 and 37. And it had the same kind of stability, like 98%. Right? But the score it just beat it like with numbers. So for the Evo, I was like, well, it's got that giant fan. I pushed it to the 800 mark, right? And I was worried about the stability even with that fan, because the chipset gets way too hot. Like, if you guys are curious, just ask. I'll put up pictures of when I took this thing apart, and the thermal pad that it came with was blown to smithereens, because I was like pushing the device to play Mario Odyssey like at 80 frames a second when I first started this channel. And then I loaded up Mario Odyssey one day and it was playing like 30 frames. So I was like, what's going on? And I took it apart and I seen the thermal pad and I had to replace it. We're back at 80 frames, okay? So that is something to consider. So I think this is the sweet spot. Max these clocks out, which is just the CPU 7 really, because if you go into gaming, so if you're going low, like, let's go here. That's fan, my bad. Let's go to balance. Go to balance. You see how these change? Right. Streaming, you can see the. Right. Now gaming, I already edited it, so it's not going to show what this is. But the only thing that really changes is the last core, and it's like right there. That's actually exactly where. No, might be right there. So just change that to this. And then for the GPU limit, I'm not sure what it is in gaming. I forgot. Change it to 794. And then scroll down, lock GPU at max frequency, lock it. We set the GPU max frequency to 794. So this way, with the score that you've seen, yes, if we do this and max this out and max the last core out, we'll get a higher score. And then our lowest loop score will still be high, but the stability is going to go down in the low 90s. So I'd rather have a higher stability with a slightly lower score. And to be honest with you, I don't have the exact, I'm going based off memory, but I think Russ, in his review of the Pocket S2 with the G3 Gen 3, again, the scores aren't very far off from this score that we tweaked. And remember, we're lowering the settings to make it more stable. And the score that we just got with this is kind of similar to the score he did in the best mode on the Pocket S2 that I'm, eventually going to get someday. So that looks like that's going to need tweaking too, because these are just like overclocked cell phone chips. This is Gen2 overclocked. The Pocket S2 is going to be an overclocked Gen 3 chip, which is cool, but this is what we're looking for. So again, I think this is, and it's pretty basic. I'm just surprised no one's really went over this. To get the most out of your devices with the ANEOs, Pocket S's, Pocket Evo, I would recommend, especially if you have an Evo, I mean, just look, the loop scores, we're not losing much. It's less than 100 points. Not bad. I would strongly suggest just tweaking the GPU to 794, locking it, and then making CPU 7 to 336, especially on an Evo because of the fan. You're going to have a good time. Pocket S, it's same chip, different design and structure. So we're not going to get the same results. Bigger battery, right? 120 hertz screen, or I'm sorry, 165 hertz screen, OLED screen, whatever. Battery, fan, this is what matters. Ventilation, this is what matters. If you're going to play a game for an hour, that's going to matter. I mean, you're going to need headphones to, not hear that fan, but dear Lord. This one, you're going to need to wear gloves so your hands don't burn. Get your oven mitts, play the game with oven mitts. I can't imagine that. But anyways, I recommend tweaking the Pocket S to 746, maxing them out. You just seen in Breath of the Wild, that was good enough to show that you can actually take advantage of the power and then play around with settings, and it'll work. In Eden, Eden was such a pain, but it's come along, and now there's a lot of benefits to it. But with that setting, or with these settings on the Pocket S, Link is running over 42 frames a second. I thought that was gonna be so difficult for this because it was gonna overheat. So, just go into max mode. Don't do that. This will save your chip from overheating, especially on here. The max fan is not as loud, so it's not that bad to have it on. But you'll get more battery life, and having this at maxed out doesn't do anything. The frames dropped actually. Then it didn't benefit. So I would definitely just lower the GPU limit on the Pocket S to 746. Just lock it. Max out the CPU 7 core to the max 3.3 whatever. 3.3 gigahertz, who cares? And you can keep it on high and then play around with the fan if you need to on high. I'm still trying to figure out to recommend a fan for this, because it's just too premium to stick a sticker on there and put a fan on there, but we'll see. I am happy to say that with no fan and a leather case, this did really well. This did better because I increased the GPU, but the stability was able to stay on par. Because if I get like I said, we can max this out and we'll do a test, and it'll get a higher loop score and even a higher lower loop score than probably these, but the stability is going to drop to the low 90s, and then to me, and you look at the graph, it's not going to look great. It's going to look like, yeah, you get that boost, but then you're going to end up losing frames, and then you're going to just coast it out and slowly lose frames. This way, you're going to stay strong and you're going to last strong. So 794 Pocket S, you could do 794, but I recommend 746. It's only the big difference because of the design, and ventilation and things of that nature. But I'm still very impressed. I haven't seen anyone else talk about tweaking these settings to get more out of it. Maybe on Reddit, but I'm very surprised that no one's posted videos about these devices on how to get better stability, not performance. And actually it is performance, because as you've seen, if we max everything out, you lose frames. It sucks. And it overheats. And if you don't have a case, your hand's going to melt. So, especially with this. So again, I still recommend 746 for the Pocket S, just because of the design. Still is going to beat, theoretically, the Odin 2 in performance, and the stability has increased way more than it would have if it was maxed out. So the max mode, forget about it. Evo, we increased the GPU. Your hands won't melt. And it's a lot better than the Odin 2's performance. Not just a little, it's a lot. We're in the 4000s, and our highest or our lowest loop score was right below 4000. So I mean, if you want to go to 1000 on the Evo, by all means, be my guest. But this is now going to be, it is not a lot better. It's going to be a consistent, slightly better than the Odin 2 Pro or Odin 2 Max or Portal or what have you. but at the same time, we're not going to blow our thermal pads. We're not going to melt our chip inside, you know. It's that sweet spot. So take advantage. Let me know if you see a difference, especially with the Pocket S. Try it out. 746, max out CPU 7, and then lock the GPU frequency and just leave it as is and play a game. Play for a half hour. Keep the fan on high. I mean, if you got a fan, you don't care, put it on, but watch the temps, watch the battery life, and let me know. I think this is the sweet spot for both of these devices. If I increase this a little more, I feel like we're going to start losing stability. Our scores will go up, but I mean, if that's what you care about, then by all means, max it out. I just don't think in max mode, with things maxed out, it's less performant than it is if you lower the GPU frequency, because it's just not needed. And I'll come back to this again in the future, and I'll try to go back to this video and remember, like, I'll just rewatch it with these scores and everything. And when I get the Pocket S2, we'll do a huge comparison, because I don't think the Pocket S2 is going to have performance that is drastically better than the Evo. Even the Pocket S1, it's going to be this. It's just going to maybe have better ventilation than the Pocket S1, but it's going to be on par with the ventilation on the Evo, obviously, because this thing is just. They had good intentions, but they didn't make the connection fully. But anyways, more to come. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.